Welcome, welcome. This is our first day, day one of our 21-day quantum body reset. And I'm so excited you're here. And I'm just excited because I think that the consistency and all the other support that we have is really important. And again, these are small bite-sized things so that we can kind of just let it infuse into our being. So I am going to start with just a couple of logistics. I just want to make sure that everybody has the right email response with the right links. And let me actually check my inbox just in case, because I had a couple messages this morning with lots of different things happening. So please let me know that you just have everything that you need. What else? Logistics wise, I will have the calendar out. So the days and times are Sunday through Tuesday. No, Saturday. Yeah. Tuesday through Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and Sunday, Monday, 8 a.m. Pacific. And then we will add some of the smaller trainings, and I will let you know, hopefully give you at least a couple of days advance notice, but the recordings everything will be in the portal. And again, smaller bits of information. Okay, so that said, let's just take a moment to kind of open the space. Since these are embodiment practices, and we're here to connect our body to our life more rather than moving kind of around our body or from our head. All right, so just taking a moment, closing your eyes, feeling the seat that you're on, whether you're seated or laying down or standing, whether your back is supported. Notice how your hips are supported. Your feet, are they on the floor? Are they tucked under you? And even just the sense of the structure under you, under your seat. Even that sense of the earth beneath your building, your home. Almost that sense of your connection to the earth. Not just your appreciation of the earth, but the palpable connection to the fertile soil, the root systems, the mycelium networks, the creeks, the rivers, the oceans, the lakes, the forests. And then the reflection of those qualities in your body, right? Can you, in this moment, just the sense of your structure, right? Your own trunk or root network, or the waters, right? The blood, or cellular fluids, interstitial fluids. Even the fluids in the organs, your lymphatic fluid, the quality of air, your breath, or the quality of breath, right? Even in the spaces where there is no breath, that movement, lightness, inspiration. And the quality of fire, thought, digestion, passion, emotion, creation. Connecting to the sense of the universe inside of your body, even inside of your cells. Right? That consciousness externally reflected internally. Good. Just aware of your breath. And we'll share this in a moment, but just the sense of your history. And, when we look at a tree or we look at a canyon, we are amazed by its history, right? With the tree, it's the enormity, the size, the quality, knowing there's the amount of rings or the history, the animals related to the tree or the canyon, the relationship of the water, the wind, the carving of that canyon. So just in your own body and being, honoring your own history, and maybe just kind of a sense of the impacts, right? The influences, where we've been carved, where we've had to yield, where we've blossomed. Good. And then slowly, slowly, when you're ready, just begin to open your eyes and just see into the space around you. And just seeing in the light in the room, any windows, just the shapes in the room. Just a sense of you inside that room, space, safety. Or sense of your own space filling this kind of tangible space. Good. And just briefly, some of you know my history and some of you don't. And it's more just the, again, the carvings, right? The influences, right? Moving from more of a kind of family that was more academic and very intellectual, and the body was not really something that was valued or used often, right? It was just never talked about, really. And so I kind of grew up a little disconnected from my body. And there was some family stuff where I chose to, just separate myself from my body. It was a little disconnected from my body. And then going through an injury, that shattered elbow that I've talked about before, that kind of was a very intense kind of impact and healing process. And there have also been, right, I've had herniated disc in my neck that took about 2 years. I've had torn injuries from over pushing my body. I've had a few runs with autoimmune illnesses and other health issues. And these are all things that have shaped who I am, but have also allowed me to find the tools that I am just wanting to share with you. And the movement is the thread through all of it, because I think the movement allows us to integrate it into the body, or, right, because I've also done a lot of therapy and kind of head-centric or thought-centric or emotion-centric healing modalities. There's something about the body and its relationship to the unconscious and its relationship to that part of ourselves that isn't quite fully here, right? That unconscious part of us that hasn't been brought up into awareness yet. And so part of the work and the movement is awareness, building awareness, and allowing that stuff to surface, to come into integration. So what I would love is to hear from you, and whether it's like your body story, like when you were reflecting on your history and your story and what kind of gleamed to the surface, I would love to hear. And if you feel shy saying it on the recording, that's okay. You can type it in the chat, but I would love to hear, if you feel safe enough to use your voice, just some aspects of your journey that seem important or seem still present or still integrating or just seem noteworthy. Who's the brave one? Yeah.
Okay, so when I think back to the history of my body, I had a fractured leg, bottom part. I had a broken spine. I had double vision. Well, they thought it was MS, but it wasn't. Yeah, that's about it.
What is a quality, or a word, and it doesn't even have to be relative, but it's like, if we look at a tree and we're like, oh, the history of that is like, what would you call, or what's a quality, an energetic quality that you feel in that history of yours?
It's a bit like weathering the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But you got through the storm, or
I
you
did. I did. I did.
and beautifully, I might say. But yeah, I think it's important to just kind of honor, it makes us who we are, right?
It does, yes.
Okay.
Unmute myself. Well, I mean, as a child, I'm thinking back, I would subluxate and dislocate my shoulders when I was swimming and playing and not really knowing that that was what was happening to my body. I mean, it was just like, I just thought that's what my arms do or when I'm playing. And, I would just, and repetitively, obviously, it just kept happening worse and worse. And then when I'm in my 20s, I've had both my shoulders surgically um, uh, whatever fixed, I guess you could call it, reconstructed or whatever to make them, so they don't dislocate like that anymore. And then, subsequently, I mean, I have this twisted spine scoliosis thing that's affected me throughout my whole body with my hips and my knees and my feet. And I think because of the way my structure of my spine, um, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's, um, just out of habit or whatever, has created me to have this curvature. But I tore my tendon in my foot, so I've had to have that. I had it replaced with a cadaver tendon and a couple screws put in my foot to help support my arch. And I just feel like I've had all these little things happening, and but I was strong. I was like, I'm going to power through all these things, like this is, my body and this is just what happens. And I mean, I just feel like I've always worked really hard to have that, my mom's Swiss, my dad's German background, that we just power through a lot of these injuries kind of thing. You just kind of, you don't complain about it. You just kind of, you kind of power through it. And now I'm just like trying to like, okay, I'm slowing down and trying to like, okay, listen to my body and pay attention. And it's amazing, like, wow, the things I notice in my body now that when as I slow down, like, wow, that's interesting, or that's different. I never really paid attention to how this left side does this and this right side does, is so different. So yeah, anyway, that's my body story.
Yeah. And if there was an energetic quality that you would
uh
that you could kind of describe your journey.
yeah, I don't, yeah, it's just like just powering through. I mean, that's where, I mean, the energy is just like, I mean, it's more like force though, a force than really, where I think of that, I was like, I want to be more like water, like fluid.
Mm,
um, Being able to take, kind of comes through and let it flow through me rather than, you know,
yeah.
absorbing it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like, okay, well, you had the tree, and I'm thinking like the wind blowing through, and you kind of move and it shifts, and yeah, the wind, I mean, if you're always blowing, can make you kind of lean over time. But I just wanted to like blow through and
Yeah. Great. Great. So let's do one more, just kind of simple reflection. So we have kind of our journey. I love weathering the storm and powering through. Right. So maybe what is the quality that right, because I know both of you are in a healing process. So what is the quality? And we're all at different levels, but what is the quality that you're moving towards or wanting to cultivate? Like if you could, again, an energetic or a quality or a feeling of that, right? I'm hearing Iris, wind and yielding, but anything, right? Anything that feels like kind of beacon, right? Something that you're moving towards, and you're probably consciously already doing it, but just to clarify it with a word.
well, just I would say just ease, just
Mm,
more ease in my body.
nice. Yeah, because water can be quite powerful, right? That's canyons are formed with water.
Yeah, yeah. Wind, oh, it's powerful. Yeah,
But ease,
yeah.
ease,
Ease.
easy water,
Mm-hmm.
What comes up for me is lightness.
lightness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
I enjoy watching people dance, and their fluidness. It's like, wow, look at that body, how they can I want to do that.
Ah, absolutely. Okay, so one um and it is interesting. So one thing that I wanted to just bring out is that these are principles that I just wanted to kind of drop into the space because I think they're just interesting qualities to hold, right? When we think of doing a reset or doing movement or doing any other a cleanse, right? That we live in a very masculine quality world, right? Where there's a goal, there's an ambition, there's a plan, there's an outcome desired. Mm. And so again, I just wanted to drop these qualities into the space because I think that they're helpful just as far as when we're approaching our own body, right? Bringing in the feminine quality, right? And I tend to think of, right, the masculine being a little more directive and the feminine being a little more the ability to hold, right? If I think of the black of the universe, right, that ability to expand, to hold many different angles, different narratives, whereas the masculine may be really great at bringing things into form, right? So it's got a kind of narrow focus to move things forward, and we need both. Right, but because we're so used to coming from the masculine, how do we hold ourselves in this just different quality? Right, a quality of, I have to put my glasses on because I didn't. The quality of listening, right? The quality of following, right? And one thing that I've noticed as in just leading body work, that it's hard for us to follow the body, to follow the breath, to listen, right? We're very good at directing the body, telling the body what to do. So just this quality of following, listening, being versus doing, right? In that quality of settling into the experience, being in the experience, rather than doing the experience. Following beauty, what feels beautiful, what creates beauty in movement, what creates life. Even just the quality of the body is wise, right? And you might, I mean, I'm going to say it in a more directive way, which is your body is always right, but there's a wisdom in the body. So if there's a sensation or a symptom or something happening, that turning towards it, right? Turning towards it is information rather than something to get around or get through to change. Right? The quality of the inhale and the exhale, right? That ability to move, right? Receive, release, soften, allow, release, surrender. Sensation, following sensation, the felt sense. Again, when we're doing something, right, we can become like, it should be, I need to turn this way because that's what she said, but really following what's happening in the body. Connection to our inner experience, our thoughts, our emotions, images, right? That sense of that it's not just, right, that the universe is inside our body and it's not just it's not isolated, that it's connected to everything around us, our environment. And even noticing things. What I love is when I move and I'll have an image of something, or I'll think of something, or I'll hear a song, or the colors will change in my inner color palette, or just the way I hear things, or maybe visual images come through, to really trust those, to really trust that they're part of your movement process. And then resourcing, which is also part of connection. It's like connecting our body to the garden, right? That we are a garden within a garden. And again, just guidelines for holding this differently. And that our, again, body is a garden, a universe, a highly intelligent organism, life force energy. Okay. Yay. So that's kind of all of the curriculum for, for today. You like my silly glasses. So is there anything else that you would like to drop into the space, right? Something that came up for you as we then move into a couple practices. Excuse me. It's okay if you don't, it might just be moving through you. Hmm. No. Okay. All right, let us. We're going to do this sitting. And then we'll do a couple things standing. You see my sleeping kitty over there, just an ear up. So get yourself comfortable. So if that means sitting where your back is supported, then you can like take that time to move and organize yourself that way. It won't be long, but and just closing your eyes. Give you a little kitty. Good. Feeling your posture. And even if you're in the middle of the room and your back isn't supported, feeling the support of your own spine. Good. So very similar moving with the breath as moving with the body. That sense of listening and allowing. So depending on what's happening in our body and our nervous system and our emotions, our breath can be very different access throughout the day. Sometimes quite full, sometimes quite shallow. So being gentle, having a very gentle touch with the breath. Almost like a dance. We'll start very kind of slowly and gently, and then we'll add some directives, right? Again, that you can hold very loosely. So just allowing the breath to flow in and out. And maybe just noticing, like around the nostrils. How's the breath moving? Is your mouth open or closed? Do you feel the breath more through one nasal passageway or the other? And how does that feel? Easy, smooth? Noticing the cave of the mouth and the back of the throat. Any shape change or movement around the breath. Any impact or limitation on the breath. And traveling down the throat. Right, any kind of influence on the neck? Is there a kind of a widening and receiving? Or a narrowing? And even noticing shoulders, kind of upper shoulder and collarbone, shoulder blade, upper ribs, upper chest, upper back. Right, is there that sense of movement, almost like an oscillation, like the ocean? Or is that movement a little broken up? Or is there a place that feels inaccessible? Or a place that feels quite open? And kind of mid ribs, the fullness of the lungs, right, wrapped around the heart, moving towards kind of lower lungs, lower heart, diaphragm, right there, lungs and heart connected to the diaphragm. And then tracing along the back of the spine, back ribs to the back of the diaphragm. That's what do you notice? Little pulls or places of ease. Maybe the shape of the breath feels different front and back or side, one side from the other. And even below the diaphragm, all the abdominal organs, the belly and lower back, noticing the movement. Right, that even though we don't have lung tissue in our belly, the lungs move a lot of the body. And feeling down into lower belly, sacral area, base of pelvis. At our pelvic base, our pelvic diaphragm and our respiratory diaphragm, how they mimic, how they move together. Again, notice if that feels smooth or less smooth. Right, in that place of looking for beauty, in that place of allowing, listening, receiving. Good, and let's just play with letting your next exhalation be just a little bit longer than it's been. And then just allowing the inhale to respond. And then the next exhale, again, just a slight bit longer than it's been, just a beat. And just continuing in that pattern of the exhale slightly longer and the inhale responding. No directive on the inhale. And notice anything that stands out. Notice any changes in your awareness, in your feeling sense. Right, maybe something comes to surface. Just a hesitation, a resistance, an untangling. And then relax that effort. And then let's play with the opposite. Right on your next inhalation, allow the inhalation to be a little bit longer than it's been. And the exhale to just respond. Right? No direction on the exhale. And is it easier to have a longer inhale or easier to have a longer exhale in this moment? And noticing what arises, what feels different, what changes, what releases, what tightens or heightens. Good, and then letting that go. Good, and when you are ready, just feeling your, again, hips on the support. Just doing a brief check-in with your body, with your mind, with your breath, with your, just noticing any shift. Good. And slowly open your eyes. Good. And let's let's come up to stand for just a brief period of time, very brief, and then we're going to come onto the floor. And just standing, maybe even bring feet together to start, just feeling the weight in your right foot, inner heel and outer heel. Big toe side of the front of the foot or little toe side or the littler toes. Just notice, are you more inner or outer foot or outer heel, big toe? And then same with the left foot, inner heel, outer heel. Kind of inner front of the foot or outer. And just how it's different from foot to foot. Good, and then just step comfortable distance apart and again, notice. Does it change having the feet apart? And is there, if there was more weight on either, on one foot or the other, is that pattern still showing up? And then maybe just shift a little to one side, small shift. And then to the other side, other foot. Okay, does one feel like a short journey and one feel like a longer journey? Right, sometimes we organize over one leg more than the other. Maybe notice how that transfers up through the leg to the hip, to the spine, ribs, breath, neck. And just letting your hips find center. I'm just going to turn, look over to one side of the room, center, and slow enough. And I'm just really looking at how the body's turning. So as I turn, is it just the head? Or is the head, neck, ribs turning as a unit? There's no right answer. Right, you might just notice more kind of individuation on one side, or head, then the neck follows, then the ribs follow, or one side feels like they all want to go together. Noticing your breath, notice when you pause the breath. You can even exaggerate the movement and let the torso move. Notice your gaze, notice your eyes, looking down, looking up, leading the movement, following. And then coming back to center. Good. And then let's just come to the floor. Do you want to, I know you're just getting a little feisty. Feisty. Lighting my ankles. Okay, let's come onto the floor. He's bored. Okay. So just come lay down on your back. And let's just start with the legs straight, the arms close to the body, but just wherever they want to be, legs can roll out. Just feeling that support of the ground under you and letting the weight of your body settle. Heaviness. Like the weight of water. The weight of wood. Good, and from here, let's just take arms a little closer to the body. You can bring the legs in just a little bit, shoulder distance apart. And let that right arm just float up to the ceiling. Good, and just feel how it's moving. And then let that arm float down. And then do it again, and just notice how the body responded when you lifted the arm. What's kind of pressing or pulling or gathering. And then slowly lower the arm. And then again, notice what softens when you release the arm down. And one more, just floating. Floating that right arm up. And floating that arm down. And notice how you use your breath. Does the breath stop? Does it push? Does it pull? Does it help? And let's do the left side. And there's no right answer. Left arm floats up. And slowly floats down. And let it rest fully. Good, and then again, float up. Maybe you have a little more awareness of what's working, what's organizing, and things should be organizing, right? It's a whole body movement. But almost at allowing it to almost smooth out, almost looking for the beauty in the movement or the connection in the movement. Or the allowing, the listening in the movement. And slowly float that arm down again and rest. Good, and let's go ahead and bend knees. Feet to the floor. Feel your feet standing on the ground. Maybe even if there was more weight on one foot, is that happening in this stance as well? Or is it different than when you were standing? Good, so feet maybe kind of outer hip distance apart, maybe even just a little wider than hip distance apart. I'm just gonna let the right leg tip towards the left leg, just a little tip in towards the center. I'm just noticing the weight shift through the body as you move really slow and then coming back to vertical. And then tipping that right leg out to the right. So the pelvis is going to stay somewhat heavy. There'll be some weight shifting. But I'm really just initiating movement from the right leg right now. Good, one more that way. One more like that. Right leg tipping towards the left leg. So my head wants to roll with, so I'm just going to let it. I'm going to let the head roll slowly to the left. And then head rolling back to center as the knee rolls back to vertical. Even here, just feeling the weight of the roll. Feeling the weight of the back of the pelvis and the weight of the thigh or the weight of the head. As the knee tips out to the side, out to the right, and the head rolls to the right. And slowly, slowly back to center. You can even feel the topography on the back of the head. And then one more time, tipping left. Left with the head rolling, or turning left with the head, tipping with the knee. And again, center. Good, and then this time as I tip to the right with the knee, with the thigh, and the head is rolling, I'm gonna let the pelvis, when it feels ready, just follow. And even let the left leg follow. Good, and then letting the pelvis roll, right? So from the right hip to the back of the pelvis, lifting that right leg back up to vertical, head rolling back to center. One more little half roll, right? So I'm going to let the right leg tip left, head rolls left. Noticing the breath, noticing the inner movement. Like the weight shift through the ribs, the weight shift, or even the shift in the breath from one lung to the other lung. As the leg tips to the right, as the head rolls to the right, and then the pelvis follows to the right. And then letting that roll. Left hip heavy, so it helps roll the pelvis back up. Leg back up, head back up. Good, and just pause. Go ahead and straighten the legs just for a breath or two, feeling what's settling, what's softening, what's resisting or lifting, or busy, or chatty, or dancy. Bending your legs again. Let's take left leg. So left leg tipping towards the right leg. And pelvis is somewhat heavy, and then slowly back up to vertical. My head is already wanting to turn, but your head might be still as you're focusing on moving. And that's totally fine, but if your head feels like it wants to follow along, let it. And pelvis is just heavy, not resistant, just it's a heavy structure. I'm letting it be heavy. And back to center, left leg tipping to that right leg, towards that right leg, head rolling. And maybe again, you notice the back of the head, or maybe you sense the shape of the nose and that tipping of the nose. Left leg vertical. Left leg side. Good, and let's go ahead and let the pelvis follow. Just tipping left. Head rolling left as it wasn't before. And then again, the heaviness of the pelvis, the right side will help lift. Center the pelvis, lift the left thigh. Head rolling back to center. Good, and again, just a little half body movement, left knee tipping to the right knee. Head rolling a little to the right. All back to center. Good, and left knee tipping left, head rolling left. And eventually the pelvis following. Right, feeling that movement, knees, hips, ribs, lungs, breath. And the pelvis rolling to center, the head rolling to center. Knees rolling to center. And let's just go ahead and let knees, right knee, left knee tip to the right, head roll to the right. Again, noticing your breath and how it's interfacing with your movement. And the breath stay connected to the movement. As you move center, through center, and over to the other side, knees tipping left, head rolling left. And slowly, slowly center, head, ribs, waist, pelvis, knees, feet. And then let's do one with the head moving opposite direction. So knees go right, head gently left. Good, fluid, light, fluid, light. Again, looking for what feels beautiful. Feels soft. Feels ease. And through center and over to the left, head moving right. And slowly, slowly center. And pause. Just letting the legs straighten. And just feeling your back against the ground, your arms, your legs. Just noticing the quality of your awareness. Your body awareness, your felt sense awareness or emotional awareness. Your thought awareness. The observer. And then when you're ready, just a little movement, fingers, toes, hands, feet. And rolling onto your side. And up to sit. Take your time. Yay. Okay, so again, tomorrow is 8 a.m. Pacific, whatever time that is in your time zone. And I would just love to hear any, a word, a sentence, a thought, if any.
I feel more in my body. More embodied, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
Thank you.
I feel more, yeah, again, like I feel like my whole body is experiencing the world around me, not just my head, which is really nice. Yeah. So thank you, ladies. I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy your afternoon, evening, sleep.
That's good. Thanks.